Let's go next. Why don't we go to Mike from Massachusetts? Mike, welcome.
Hey David, thanks for having me on.
Pleasure.
I have a couple quick questions. I know you want to get to as many people as possible, but I'll try to make them quick. So while there's obviously still some races out there that still need to be called, some
Yes.
important ones, clearly this was not the red wave that the right was, drooling about,
No.
to totally dominate Congress and, block everything for Joe Biden. What do you think what do you think the Democratic establishment is going to take away from this? Because one thing that people have pointed out is that the only Senate seat that so far they've been able to flip was Fetterman, who ran on a relatively progressive agenda. Do you think they take anything away from this to take it in 2024, or do they just continue to keep the status quo because that's just what they like to do?
Unfortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, I would say unfortunately. This was such a unique midterm, and you're right, there's races where votes are still being counted, that I don't think there is one big takeaway. And the truth is, I've said for a long time, different types of Democrats make sense in different parts of the country. Would it be great to be able to run progressives in every district, every Senate race, and every governor's race and win? Sure. But that just simply doesn't work that way. You know, up in Massachusetts, the governor's race, Maura Healey, not like the uber progressive. And when you understand, well, Massachusetts has a history of more centrist Democrats and Republican governors, you have to kind of say, well, if we ran like a super progressive, it might end up with another Republican governor in Massachusetts. I'm sure you understand that. And so I
Well, in this
sometimes,
particular,
I'm sorry,
sorry, I was just going to say, in this particular case for Massachusetts, I mean, the Republican Party went from a very moderate like Baker and leaped all the way
to
to
deal,
a right wing nut like Neal. So,
deal.
yeah, I mean, deal. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that I think it was always a foregone conclusion that Maura Healey had this one in the bag.
Yes. No,
But
it
I know what
maybe
you're
it's not the
saying.
best example this particular year, but it is sort of an example. So I think the takeaway from for Democrats really needs to be uh, different candidates in different races can make sense. Don't compromise on what are the most important uniting values. And I would say one thing about Fetterman, you know, I don't, there was this confusing moment about fracking. At the end of the day, Fetterman said he's for fracking. So he sort of backed off of as progressive a campaign as he had been running. And I know that there was some confusion during the debate about that, but he was like, no, 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 I'm for fracking. I'm for fracking. So did he really run as progressively as maybe you're characterizing? I don't know. But listen, it's a great thing that Fetterman won.
That's fair. I agree with that. One more, if you'll allow me, and then
Yeah.
I'll let you move on. This one's probably going to get a few eye rolls from the listeners, but I've just been really thinking about this, and maybe the perspective has changed since this election didn't go as we thought it might. But I mean, do you feel like as a country we're approaching a position where, just based on the division that we have, the irreconcilable differences? I mean, do you think we're approaching a point where we have to have a legitimate conversation about is it in everyone's best interest to keep the country together? I mean, do you think we're approaching a point where we have to have a legitimate conversation about breaking the country up into two or more pieces?
I don't. And the reason why, honestly, is exactly as you said, two or more. There's a lack of contiguity in exactly how you would do it. Even if we agreed we've got to do it and it makes sense, which I don't believe anywhere near a plurality of people are at. I actually don't know geographically that there's any, you would end up needing like six countries. And obviously that's not going to happen, you know?
Fair. It's just hard to imagine how we keep moving forward in a positive direction
Yeah,
with
how do we
such
live with these
massive
people? I mean, it's
divides.
an alternate reality, an alternate set of moral values. It's no bar is too low for any candidate, no matter what, as long as they're not a Democrat. Herschel Walker being the perfect example. It's crazy. I share the desperation. I just don't think chopping the country up into two or more pieces is going to be a thing in the next few years.
I know, and I don't know if that would be the best move because that would remove a serious roadblock for countries like China
Yeah,
and Russia.
absolutely.
You know, but it
Never mind the
is.
chaos it would wreak domestically.
Fair. It's just, it is hard to imagine how we keep moving forward with such drastic differences between the two parties.
I'm with you.
All right. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks, Mike from Massachusetts. Great to hear from you.